Alright, today we are going to replace the pads and rotors on our 98 Integra GSR. Okay, so first thing I'm going to do is remove the caliper so we can get the pads out, and then we're going to take the bracket off so we can get the rotor out. Alright, so it's a 12 millimeter bolt here, and I'm going to remove that. And you actually only need to take one out to get the caliper off. Oh, this one's stuck a little bit. Alright, then you can slide the pin out. Then we need to secure our caliper out of the way. You can use a zip tie, you can use wire, whatever you want. Actually, to get our caliper up and out of the way more, I'm going to take out these two 10 millimeter bolts, so then we can get the caliper well out of the way. I want to have room to get the bolts that hold the bracket in. So I just zip tied that to the upper control arm, and now we got plenty of room to work with. It's a lot easier, so I'm just going to use an impact gun to get these bolts out. Oh, we skipped the part about taking our pads off. Well, don't lose the fit kit too, the hardware. That's important to have. Looks like this one might be broken. Yeah, it actually broke. So we're gonna need to replace that. Take that pad out. And you can see this piece was supposed to be one and broke right there. Okay, so anyways, next, take the 17 millimeter bolts out that hold the bracket. Now that's out of the way. And then we can do our rotor, which is actually still secured by a couple of screws. Okay, so these screws can be a little bit of a pain. Just getting them out with a regular hand screwdriver can be difficult. I'm using the little impact tool with a bit fit into it. There we go. So as you can see, if you look closely, somebody had a hard time before and was starting to strip these screws out. Probably be a good idea to replace these as well. Alright, so now we got our rotor free and we're ready to replace. So for our demonstration, we're not going to buy a bunch of new parts that we don't need, so I'm just going to put the rotor back on, put the screws in. Oh, wrong one. There we go. Let's see. As you can see, there's two sets of holes. The set that wasn't used before might be rusted. That's not too bad. Alright, so our rotor secured back in place, and then we're going to go ahead and put the bracket on. So we're going to line up the bracket, get those bolts threaded in there. I'm just going to use the good old impact gun. Well, if it'll work. Alright, make sure those are torqued properly. Then, let's see, well, unfortunately we have this broken piece of hardware, but it's supposed to go right in there. So when you put the pads in, make sure that all the hardware pieces are in the right place.
Make sure there's no brake pad.
Yeah, we're just slapping these pads in just so you can see how to do it.
Be sure to lube them all up.
Yeah, you want to lube the back between the shim and the back of the pad. These have some weird setup where they have like built-in shims, it looks like. But if you have the separate shims, good idea to put lube behind them. You can get brake lube at any auto store. And let's see, so we got our pads in place, and yeah, if you have any broken hardware like this piece, I definitely would recommend replacing that. Let's see, anything else we're missing? Then see, we gotta prepare our caliper to go back in place. Okay, and then another thing to do is you want to check your sliding pins. These are getting dry, so you want to lubricate those with the appropriate lubricant, and then make sure when you put them back that the boot is seated into the groove. And then also there's flat sides on the pin, so you want to make sure that that lines up with the caliper. Alright, so we're gonna cut our caliper loose here. The other thing you want to do is, in order to get, if you have new brake pads, you're gonna need to push the cylinder back in. So you can get a tool, something like this one. You can use an old brake pad to push the cylinder back in. The tool just slides in, and then you twist it, and it slowly pushes that cylinder back. Probably going to want to push it all the way until it stops, so that you have enough room to get it over the new thicker rotors and pads. And when you feel it stop, you can just loosen the tool, take it out. Then you're going to drop it into place. Make sure you lube the other pin as well, and that the boot goes into the groove. And you drop it over, line up the flat spot so your caliper goes in far enough to get the bolt in. There we go. And then of course when you go to put the vehicle back down, when you have your wheels torqued on and everything else, you want to pump the brake pedal so that the piston pushes against the brake pads, because you don't want to go and try to drive the vehicle and the brake pedal sinks to the floor. So you got to press the pedal to get the cylinder seated into position. And don't forget your brake line support bracket, and put that back in. Alright, I'm going to tighten that 12mm bolt down here, and that just about does it.